Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV. I'm sitting here after Carlisle have been beaten 4-1 at home by top of the league Bolton, or at the very least they are top of the league as it stands. In what is, look, it's a game where we've just been absolutely outclassed. I think there was mistakes from the management, I think there was mistakes from individuals, but the overall theme is that we just weren't good enough and that they were by far the better team. It's, a team we've beaten once this season already. Maybe wanting to beat Bolton twice in one season is a little bit too much to ask, especially with the quality they've got. But yeah, look, I think there was some big questions that need to be asked about the team selection today. I think one of them is Jack Ellis. Look, and nobody seems to be criticising him, and it's understandable as to why. He's a youth player who has always done well when he's been there. He's a bit of a fan favourite because you can tell he really cares and because he really tries. But Jack Ellis, I think he hasn't had a bad game for Carlisle before. This is definitely his first. Admittedly, he was overrun on that right-hand side too much, but there was just individual mistakes. He didn't get his tackles in. He was drawn out of position far too often, which when you're already, as a team, leaving that much space on the right-hand side, if you get drawn out of position, you're going to leave massive gaps in behind. And both of Bolton's opening 2 goals in the first half were from that right-hand side. Different situations, but both of them were scored from that right-hand side. The first one in particular, I thought, is a space where Jack Ellis probably should have been. But look, you've got Finn back from injury. He's there. Josh Emmanuel just appears to have disappeared off the face of the earth. And I like Jack Ellis getting game time, I really do. But to put him into this game against such a good opposition and have him have no cover on that right-hand side, he's good, but he's not that good, and there's not much more he can do. And plus his little individual mistakes, and he was just outclassed on that right-hand side. I think he's a very good League 2 player who has the potential to go on and become a good League 1 player. But I'd have definitely played Finn back if he was fit, and if not, what's the point in having Josh Emmanuel? What's the point in that signing if he's not going to play? Maybe they're both fit, and maybe they're both injured, and there's something I've missed. But Jack Ellis on the right hand side, I think he was outperformed a bit. But one of the big ones for me after the news this week is, why is Owen Moxon starting in the midfield? I've seen a lot of people say that he doesn't care, which, look, I can see why people are saying that, but I think that's maybe a little bit too harsh. I think Owen Moxon, he does care because it's his club. It won't become the summer though. That's the problem. I think it's harsh to say he doesn't care, but on the same note, players like Vila, who we've just signed, who is on a 1.5-year deal with an option of a 2nd year, he's a player that's going to be here next season, and he's a player that the outcome of this season, it impacts him. Next season, he'll want to be a League 1 player, like he has been this season. And if he's going to be at Carlisle, then he will care more about the outcome. You've got to think with players that aren't going to be here at the end of the season. If we go down, that doesn't impact them at all. Obviously, him being from Carlisle and him being, a part of this team, he won't want a relegation on his CV, but he's not like the fans. The fans who go to these matches every single week, who are going to be here next season, regardless of the results of this season. Some Carlisle fans would be here in National League North, and I count myself in that, and there's lots of them. But for players on loan, like Owen Moxon, he's here till the end of the season anyways, he'll be leaving. And you think of some of the other players that their contracts are up at the end of the season, maybe the likes of Joe Garner. Whatever happens this season, they're going to be gone anyways. It doesn't matter. And it's not that they don't care, it's just that they're not going to have the fight and the desperation to succeed like a Vila or another player that's definitely going to be here next season because of their contract situation. That's why I think Luke Armstrong's done so well, and Harrison Neal when he's coming to the team, because they're going to be here regardless, and they want to ensure that we're in League 1 next season, which at the minute looks like an absolutely far gone conclusion that we're probably going to go down. The best part about today is that the gap's still only 10 points, and you look at that space just outside of the relegation zone all the way up to 14th. There's only about 5 or 6 points in it. So it is entirely possible that a lot of them teams could get dragged down in the relegation fight. We've just got to try and put ourselves amongst them. We've just got to try and get ourselves kind of where Reading are, just in that fight, because there'll be teams that go on bad runs of form. If we can pick up some results, we'll be right back into it. And I think a lot of the players we've got at the minute see that. And I think there was real fight this season from the likes of Vila, from the likes of Harrison Neal, Luke Armstrong, and the others, John Mellish, Harry Lewis, I think had a decent enough game. He'll be disappointed with the first goal, but there's not really much he can do without the other three. So in the next game, and I also include Jack Diamond in that, and he's been a very controversial signing for obvious reasons. But he's on loan, his contract's up in the summer. I can see him being part of Paul Simpson's plan. I can see him being here next season as well. When he leaves Sunderland on a free transfer. So he'll be fighting for that as well, because he'll probably see himself as here longer than this 6-month period. But yeah, look, a lot of people seem to be turned on the team and on the manager. And yes, results aren't going well. It's just, to put it lightly, I think we were in such a worse position this time a couple of years ago, and I think it's easy for people to forget that with the success of the recent couple of years. But I don't feel as down about going down this time as I did under Keith Millen, because under Keith Millen, if we'd have got relegated that season, we probably wouldn't have come back up. Now, in the current situation, in many regards, this season's been a success. And people won't want to hear that, but not on the pitch, but off the pitch, we've solved many of our issues that have been with us for 17, 18 years. You know, we've finally sorted the ownership situation. We're debt-free for the first time in God knows how long. So the club's in a lot healthier position this year, and I think if we do go down, we've got players like Luke Armstrong, like Harrison Neal, and I feel like I've gone through that same list over and over again. But, you know, so I include Sam Lavelle in that, I include some of the other players on longer term contracts, that we've got such a good squad now, even if it is too late at this point, but we've got the players there to get promoted from League 2 if we go down. So obviously relegation isn't, you know, I'm not going to say it's not ideal, because it's a lot worse than that. It's an absolute disaster, it's an absolute failure from everyone involved, but it doesn't seem as dire as it did a couple of years ago. And I think it's as Carlisle fans, we've just got to take a step back and think, Paul Simpson saved the club. We're now in a much better position, even if we do go down, than we were when he came in. Stick with it. Just stick with it, because and I don't think there's any point in sacking the manager now. We're already towards the end of January, and they're not going to sack him. And I know they're not going to sack him because, for one, I've asked the owners, and they're very much in the boat that he will stay regardless. And that's probably the right thing to do. So whatever happens, he's gonna stay. So I think we just need to get behind him and hope that if we can get out of this relegation zone this season, good. If not, then he's probably the right man to take us back up. And I think that's, you know, that's the big thing. I've you know, and it's something I've thought about a lot over the last couple of weeks. But more on the game itself, I think we just collapsed after the first couple of goals, after half time, and it was. We managed to get one back. 90 minutes comes and it's evident we're not going to get anything out of it. We concede 2 stupid goals when we're just trying to push forward. We just collapsed against a better team, and I think that's all in all the conclusion to take from this. We collapsed. We didn't put ourselves right against a very good team who's obviously better than us. But another point to make. Looking at the fixtures we've got towards the end of the season, I don't think I could ask for a better lot of fixtures. We don't seem to be able to beat the teams in and around us, so it's a good job we've got pretty much all of them games out of the way. We seem to be playing a lot of Leyton Orients, Northamptons, you know, these mid-table sides that can't go up, can't go down kind of thing at this point in the season. And I still think it's possible we stay up. It's, you know, we win every game towards the end of the season. From this point until the end of the season, we'll probably finish top half. It's not going to happen in a million years, but it just shows you how much is left to play for. We're well past the halfway point now, but it's definitely not over. It's definitely not foregone. And I just think if we can get a few games together, and look, 7 points seems so much more achievable than 10. So if we can just get a win next week and hope results go our way, we're 7 points out. We're 7 points off that final survival's place. Plus, there's going to be some signings coming in, or at least one striker, anyways, to hopefully partner Armstrong up top. Combine that with an entirely new midfield, and we're looking at a completely different squad that hopefully can change our fortunes. But yeah, a bad day at the office, a really bad day at the office, in fact. But off the pitch, there's positives to take, and signings-wise, there's positives to take as well. But yeah, I feel like I'm just waffling at this point, but thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, because it really seems to be a very divided fan base at the minute. But yeah, in a bit.